Okay, so
Sweet.
Okay, so now this is back to what we were talking about before. This is you're actually taking images and now you're manipulating them.
right, and
And what's the code for this?
this uses a vertex shader underneath because you need to circumvent some of the machinery that Corona is doing on the texture coordinates.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now
you still want to interpolate. And I got another one here.
Is the shader managing the movement in that last one, or only the breaking up, and then you were using Lua to move them?
I'm using Lua to I believe I'm using Lua to move them.
Okay.
So just like in Photoshop, you're and I keep going back to that because that's what a lot of people are familiar with. Is you're taking this texture, you're taking this image, and you're applying a filter to it, basically, like just like you would do a blur or one of the artist filters where you do like a watercolor or glass or something like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, oops.
And what's the? You're going to show us the code on one of those?
Yeah, I'll see. These are the samples themselves, but I don't think they have anything too interesting. So I'll show. And what do I call that other one? Sharp. Okay, so here, this is the texture one.
The first one we saw where it was all broken up?
Right.
Okay.
And I'm using a vertex shader to calculate the local y coordinate, or x and y coordinates, and I interpolate those. That way, you don't get the distortion showing up from perspective correction. And in that heat one, the thing that was shimmering back and forth, I use the vertex shader to actually widen the geometry. And then after that, I shorten the texture coordinates so that they won't get clipped as they wave back and forth, but they'll still sample the texture inside of the widened region. So those are a couple examples of vertex shaders.
Did you have any specific questions there, or you kind of like were you looking for a specific example?
Just out of curiosity, I think I know the answer to this, but can these shaders, either fragment or current or vertex, be applied to something like a display group, or would it need to be flattened in a snapshot before you could apply that?
No groups. It's all snapshots.
Yeah.
And that's something is that something we're going to talk about eventually, maybe snapshots, or is that a whole different animal?
Oh, I don't have anything nice to show. I think Barry does, but
okay. Well, maybe we'll hit Barry up for those. Maybe he can show us some some snapshot stuff. Because I know early on when Graphics 2.0 came out, he did some really nice examples.
There's some things that aren't as sophisticated as they could be, I guess. That you can't pass a snapshot into composite paint. So it has to be the first texture in any shader, the first and only texture in any shader that uses one, and that holds them back quite a lot on that front.
Okay. Well, I think that's plenty to chew on. I know for myself, I have a better understanding exactly what shaders do and why I might use them, or at least, when I would get to that point where I would say, what this really needs is shaders. But I also understand that there's a lot. The rabbit hole goes really deep. There's a lot more to it than just popping something in. So we're going to put a link in the show notes to the guides and stuff like that. So you definitely would probably want to start there. Are there any resources Stephen, that you would recommend to somebody, like if who's just starting out? Is there a good book that you have? Like,
Well, a lot of people seem to be getting a lot of use out of Shader Toy, which is a website where you can. It's like the playground, and there's a lot of pre-existing code on there.
So it outputs the GL bits that you would need, like you can use sliders, and then it outputs the text-based shader, or
I don't know offhand what the interface is, but you can actually.
I could just go and check it out. I could Google Shader Toy.
Yeah, Sergey, you've used it, haven't you? Barry too.
Yeah, see here's shadertoy.com.
I think so.
Yeah, it's what I'm looking at it right now. It's in beta. It says there's some interesting looking stuff.
Shader has interesting shaders, but when you convert them, they work fine in the simulator, and when you run them on the actual device, they either don't work or work not the way they're supposed to work, like not enough precision or something like that.
Yeah, you run up against precision issues often.
So maybe good examples of what you can accomplish with shaders, but then there's going to be some fiddling involved in order to get it to actually.
Now, and could that be a incongruity between the WebGL and GLES? Is that what might be causing that, or?
Could be, although they're pretty close.
Hardware issue. Like on the desktop, you have a full features card, and on the device, it's not so full featured.
I think it's more likely that.
Okay. So once again, we kind of run into the hardware issues.
I don't know, maybe some like latest iPhone, iPads run this samples fine. I haven't tried that. Maybe they do.
Okay, so you definitely would want to target your device that you're trying to target. Right. You like test on the device you're trying to target.
I don't know if it requires the precision specifier either. So that's some conversion work, if not.
Okay. Well, yeah. There's a link in the chat for everybody who's on the call if you want to go check it out, and then we'll put a link in the show notes so people can go look at it. At least get a good example of what shaders are and how they work, and that kind of thing. Because what you showed us today, the playground is good. But it's nice to see a nice sampling of topics so you can kind of get a good appreciation for it. So next week we will do what? What do you think we're going to talk about next week? It'll still be shaders, but.
Well, I can show an example. I had it ready. There was an example in the forum with a glass that fills up. That Ed had given me a glass picture, and I went ahead and did it where you can fill the glass volume. It uses 4 shaders, depending on how full it is.
It could be awesome if you can do something like a masterclass of writing a shader, like you have some effect in mind and you write line by line stuff to achieve the effect. Because when you show completed shader, it looks very complex and not so understandable. And when it's step by step, it's very good to understand.
Yeah, I was going to try go through the process in this one.
Okay. Well, we can do that next time then. I think we're kind of out of time for today, but so that'll be coming attractions. That'll be something worth being here for next Monday. And do check out the show notes for all the links and everything that we mentioned. And if you haven't had a chance, go over to youtube.com/coronageek and subscribe. And that's it. So thanks for everybody for being here for this week, and we'll be back here next Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific to talk all about mobile app development using Corona SDK. Until then, have a great week and happy coding.
Bye.
It was a